Well, we knew that Russell T Davies is not in the know at this point. And we'll go over exactly what we do know about this whole Doctor Who situation because it's pretty crazy how quickly this House of Cards fell. And it fell because of this man right here who just decided to prioritize his crazy woke agenda over everything else. Now, I don't believe that woke is dead in 2025. I've seen too much evidence to the contrary all over the internet. There's crazy things happening right now. If you go scroll through my channel, because the way that things work these days is they're increasingly putting you into more of a niche. So it's like I have to cover Doctor Who or Star Trek or sci-fi books for a video to really go. There's this Harry Potter board game that's being canceled in real time right now because of activists out there harassing a company. It's still going on. All of this stuff is still very, very important. I know a lot of people are burnt out. I know a lot of people are still at a point where they're like, okay, I just want to go back to enjoying things again. But we're still not there. These corporations are still bowing to these mobs. They're still being controlled. If you look at the higher ups, inside the BBC, I mean, those people have not really changed. I'm sure they want Russell T Davies to still go. And remember, we still have a mini-series called The War Between the Land and the Sea coming out. That's going to be a spinoff here of Doctor Who very soon. Yes, everybody kind of forgot about that one because it was so cringy looking. But yes, Doctor Who's fate remains in a completely ambiguous manner, which is interesting because this is going to be the first time in a long, long time that we're not going to have Doctor Who for a while. And this is what we'll talk about in just a moment. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us here as we talk about all things in sci-fi. This is your real sci-fi news. I appreciate you being here. My name's John Delarose, and I am a science fiction writer myself. If you like my thoughts on sci-fi, if you like my thoughts on what's going on here, I am doing things in novel form, and I have a beautiful space opera called The Stars Entwined. It starts here. We had so many huge sales yesterday. I don't know what happened, but we had a giant sales boost yesterday. So thank you guys for checking all this out. This is the start of a trilogy, which is a war in space. Big stakes, big characters that are a lot of fun. If you guys want me to show run Doctor Who, please tell the BBC. I'll do it. And I'll be able to do it from a sci-fi perspective that really understands the genre. So this is in the description below. I also have a newsletter I'd love you to sign up for so that you stay in touch with me. Thanks for being here, guys. Let's get into this news. All right, so Russell T Davies admitted he doesn't know anything about the future of the show. And they didn't. This is going back to when they were filming this latest season. And if you don't know, they filmed this latest season more than a year ago. And because of all of that, they actually tacked on things to the end of the show because these guys had no concept that Ncuti Gatwa was going to be out and gone and that everything was going to be dropped and the ball was going to be going on, as much as we've been talking about it for a long, long time. Now, I have a Disney insider. My Disney insider said they were not happy with it, the ratings after season 1. People were not watching Doctor Who. The ratings have continued to collapse across everything, and this is since Russell Davies' return. And this is actually before. I mean, when they went full social justice with Jodie Whittaker, which everybody kind of forgets because this one was so much worse. Shocking. How did they get worse from there? It's unbelievable. But the ratings collapsed at that point. The Doctor is not a woman, and it should have never been a woman. The Doctor is a very masculine character going all the way back. When he first started as a grandfather, and I've watched the entire William Hartnell run, and I've seen all of it, he was a very masculine figure. He took charge. He made statements that were very clear. He was not some guy like hiding and crying like they've made now. They've really turned it into an effeminate character, and it's meant to humiliate the Doctor and humiliate fans. I mean, that's the entire intention of these guys' agendas, because what it comes down to is people like Russell T Davies have what's called imposter syndrome. And so this is where they think that they don't feel like they're the real creators or whatever. And so because of that, they get paralyzed in their own fears. And this is the psychology behind all of this stuff, where they project that out because of it. And it's true, because Russell T Davies didn't create Doctor Who. He just took somebody else's concept and made it popular again for a while. And so he knows he's not a real creator who's actually really doing innovative things. And if you look at this run of Doctor Who, he was recycling a lot of the ideas from before, and it looked like almost a phoned-in version. It was very weird, just on the writing level, just how poor it was. But a lot of it came down to nobody wants to watch this effeminate Doctor Who, and that's whether it's Jodie Whittaker as an actual female or whether it's Ncuti Gatwa as a gay dude who's acting really effeminate, right? It is something that just offends the fans because it's not right for the character, and it's not right here. If Russell T Davies made his own just gay time traveler show, also nobody would have watched it, but at least it wouldn't have, harmed this legacy of what was going on before. So this is the thing. They know they can't do these kind of things in their own properties. If he created his own time travel thing, which, I'm thinking about doing my own, I don't think he would do well with it, and I don't think fans would like it either. It wouldn't go anywhere. It would flop, and he knows that. That's why he has the imposter syndrome. So he projects it on this to try to force people to watch it, to try to force people to the agenda, and basically it just got rejected over time. Now, like I said, all of this was filmed last year, and even do this, they were all in denial at the Bad Wolf Studios here. I actually got an email from one of them because I was covering after the first season was just beginning to get on the air that Gatwa and Millie Gibson were rumored to be leaving the show. Now, Millie Gibson left after the first season. She did have a couple guest appearances in the second, but she did. She actually left the show as a companion after one season. Right? And then Gatwa was out after 2, so he was mulling that over at that point. Now, the Bad Wolf people at the time told me Gatwa was contracted all the way through 2028. So even though the ratings were bad, even though the fans were reacting poorly, even though the actors were stressed because they know that what they were doing was not being received well, this company actually really thought that Gatwa was going to continue and that all of this was going to be going forward through a 2026 season, a 2027 season, like a 5-year stint of Gatwa. They were planning for this, and the reason they wanted that and contracted him for so long is they wanted to go around and declare victory, saying this is the longest run of any Doctor in modern history, and then act like they had a giant success because of that, to go and own the chuds, right? And that's what they care about. If you look at this, the themes that were written, if you watched this last season, and I did, they were all about attacking the fans online who hate this stuff. And all of the themes of every single episode was about owning the chuds. And that was their entire deal. They say they don't watch or pay attention to us, but they very, very much do. They really do. They watch this channel, and I know they do because of references I've seen Russell T Davies make. And of course, because Bad Wolf emailed me as well to tell me that my reporting was wrong, even though it was right. So as much as they had that contract, it did happen. What I said came to pass. And this is, of course, why I'm one of the most trusted names in science fiction news right now. But this is the whole state of things where they're at. Now, while Gatwa was out, they had no concept this was going to happen, despite the fact that there were warning signs early, despite the fact that Disney was saying, we're not going to pay attention to this, we don't like this, despite the fact that ratings were very, very low. They kept saying, we're going to wait until the end of the second season until we make any decisions. And sure enough, that's what Disney told them, of course. But the second season didn't have good ratings either. It had worse ratings. It had abysmal ratings, the worst in Doctor Who history. And so because of that, Disney was like, I don't want this. Now, what Disney wanted, if you don't know from the business angle, and I do because I have a Disney insider, was they really wanted a whole streaming package, including the old original Doctor Who episodes before Russell T Davies. They wanted everything. And so if you don't know, on the streaming level, at least in America, the modern Doctor Who, starting with Christopher Eccleston, was on HBO Max. And that's what had that deal. And then the old stuff was on a program called BritBox. And so Disney wanted all the streaming of all those because that's where they make their money. If you don't know, Paramount Plus has all the new Star Trek episodes, for example, but really where their bread and butter, why people subscribe and what people watch the most, is the old Star Trek episodes, the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, original series. Those are things that people watch over and over and over again. And Disney knows this about Doctor Who, so they really wanted that. That was a big part of the deal right now. Now, they're still talking with Disney at the BBC. The BBC CEO actually said that they align with Disney. They really want Disney. They are courting Disney again. And in America, they've actually pulled Doctor Who from all streaming platforms. It's gone now. It's no longer on HBO Max. I was actually in the middle of watching Peter Capaldi's era again, and I was like, oh gosh, I can't pull this up now. And so it's off all platforms. So the BBC is right now, to my knowledge, negotiating with Disney to try to get that old classic package, and including the Christopher Eccleston era, to Disney in exchange for Disney funding some modern programs. That is what they want, and that's what they're trying to get going. So Russell T Davies right now is commenting on this, and he's not involved in any of this process whatsoever. He has nothing to do with the rights or anything like that. So he's left in the dust. And so he says there's nothing to report, nothing's happening. You'll know when you know, when we know. I don't know. Conversations are between BBC and Disney. Like I said, I don't work for either of them. I work for Bad Wolf. I'm not part of those rooms, so I literally don't know. So I told you what is going on in those discussions. Even the people I work with every day, they couldn't know what's really going on. I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. And you can tell he's very frustrated about this because he thought he was going on. Now, Russell T Davies did write a full third season of Ncuti Gatwa era, but he did not plan for the Billie Piper thing. That was tacked on at the very, very end, last minute. They had no plan for that. They've got nothing written in that regard. They've got nothing written in terms of Billie Piper. So it was something they threw out there. That was a Hail Mary by the BBC to try to get Disney's attention and say, look, fans are talking about this show again. And it didn't work again because the fans were like, we hate this. Not all attention is good attention. And that's what these companies are fast learning. And they're learning it way more quickly in 2025 than they ever had before. But again, the big crux of all of this here is the old Doctor Who episodes. If Disney can land those, they might be interested in funding this again. They might do it to a lesser extent than before, but it might actually end up hitting this sort of deal. So really interesting on this level to see what's going on. And like I said, it comes down to the back catalog. It doesn't really come down to any modern stuff because they don't care about that at Disney. Now, I know these guys want to continue, but here's what's really going to happen at this point. We're in 2025. Russell T Davies, even though he has scripts, they were for Gatwa, they weren't for Billie Piper. He has to kind of redo those. So at the very least, they're going to start writing those in 2026 and prepping those in 2026, which means at the earliest, even if they come to a deal this year, we won't have Doctor Who until 2027, maybe even 2028. So you're going to have a hiatus of Doctor Who for a couple of years at the very least, which is, again, just going to kill a lot of momentum for the show of any fans who might be there left. If I were them at this juncture, you start from scratch. You get rid of Davies. You have to make a quick thing with Billie Piper to try to mitigate what was done with the damage with that to make it a not real Doctor or something like that, and then move forward into something that's completely different with a white male who's actually a real masculine Doctor in order to bring back fans. Otherwise, it's never going to happen again. And that's what needs to be done. Will the BBC do it? Well, if you know the BBC, I don't think they're moving in that direction. It's not a good thing, usually with them. And with Disney, well, they are looking for the money there. And so we'll see what happens with the Doctor Who back catalog. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out my Stars Entwined on Amazon. I talked a lot about what I think is science fiction, and I think you'll really love this if you like science fiction. It's on ebook, print, and audio. Make it easy for you. Thanks again for making this a huge success this last week. I appreciate all the Doctor Who fans who read. We'll be back soon.